Hello everyone and welcome back to another painting stream with me, Bachocolio. Today is going to be probably the day where we will be finishing up on this dude here, along with putting him on a base and doing a bit of a quick and easy basing, so that we can finally take him off the to-do list. Otherwise, good news all around. I am effectively at vacation right now. Not going to go to work for a good week and a half, and I will make the most of it by taking care of a little bit of stream stuff, a little bit of hobby stuff, all around. Just have the chance to relax a little bit and deal with the things that give me peace and make me feel good. So yeah. Also, I've had a little bit of time left today, so big announcement: the polls are up on my Facebook page. So if anyone has a couple of minutes spare, please jump over at Facebook, Bachocolio Streams. There is a link down below. There is a button if you're watching this on stream, and it should be in the About section in YouTube. Otherwise, you can just go and type in Bachocolio Streams in Facebook, and it'll take you to my page. It is a pinned post, so it'll be right at the top. It'll take you, I don't know, 5 minutes tops to just go in, give us a like, go into the poll and submit your votes. There are 3 categories. One is for my next painting project, one is for my next building project, and one will be what game will I play next. I did some digging around in my boxes of minis, find some things that'll be interesting. There is some variety, it's not all Blood Bowl related. There is some 40k stuff, some War Machine stuff. What else? Wild West Exodus is in the list. And also there is a huge Gunpla project there, just in case you want to see me go absolutely mental and have a breakdown while trying to put this monster together. If that's what you're aiming for, well, the option is there. You can just submit your vote. In the games, I tried to give again a bit of variety. There are some classic RPGs there, some nice third-person action games, and I think a strategy game or two. So again, if you haven't had the chance, please go over, submit a vote, and you'll get to see me do whatever it is that gets the most votes. Reason I'm doing this is to, first of all, check out what it is that will spark your fancy, what it is that will make it more interesting for you to watch me, and also to just have a bit of a comprehensive list on a part of the tasks that I have yet to complete, things that are in various stages of completion, just sitting around in boxes, or in the game's case, in my Steam library. Some of them have been sitting around for years and years, so it'll be a good chance to methodically, one by one, just clean things up, one thing at a time. So why I'm doing it now Well, because after this guy, we have two more Norsemen, well, Norse ladies to paint, and I will be done with this project, at least for now, because that'll be effectively all of the team that I'll be using for the World Cup that is going to come in about a month's time. And I will have a bit of a gap and a bit more freedom to explore the variety of what the hobby can offer. The way I see things is the first, so the top winner, number one picks, will turn into the main streams, so both for painting and building. Second places will be secondary, as in less of them, but they will appear as well. And they will take the place of the primary once the primary is completed. And for the games, however, I think I will just stick to the one, although who knows, I might do some variety if the votes are near one another between the first and second place. I might start off with both and just alternate them, give you something fresh every time, and at the same time have a bit of consistency. So again, I will urge you to go over to Facebook, call your streams, and cast your votes. I couldn't figure out a way to make multiple choices for the polls in Facebook, so I had to make a Google Doc, Google Drive form for the poll. Do not be afraid of it if you have any concerns about it. It's good, it works, and it's quick and easy. Meanwhile, being all exhilarated and excited for being on vacation, I have my hopes up that I will be able to complete both minis that are left by the time that my vacation is done, which is when when the polls will be cancelled, and I will take out the winners. So you have essentially up until September 8th, which is a decent while. I'm also going to take advantage of the free time, and I'm going to do some longer streams, possibly starting with this one, because I do need to highlight all the metallics before putting it on the base, and of course there are a few bits and pieces that need to be done after placing him. So hopefully everything will go as planned. And if time permits, also I will put in a couple of streams of the Surge to try and get through this game as well, because I don't want to leave it unfinished. Also, it is getting closer and closer to the release date for the sequel, September 24th. And since this is a game that I most enjoyed playing, I would like to give it as much exposure as possible. There is a deal on Steam right now. I believe that it may be over, at least the first part of it, but essentially you could play the game for free for about a couple of days, so 38 hours. And there is a significant sale on it right now. Again, in preparation for the release of the sequel. Right then, without further ado, let's jump right into it. I will use this particular brush for today's paint stuff. So this is a Milan Zero size for the 611 series. I talked about these brushes on a couple of occasions, I think. They are weird, but they are the nice type of weird. They are synthetic brushes that are very soft and somehow manage to keep a very fine tip. Also, they are quite thick in terms of bristle consistency. Hey there, Pig in Space. How are you doing today? And as usual, thank you very much for joining. Did you cast your votes in the poll? Oh, that's nice. Oh, no worries, no worries. The game was done way early. I mean, it was just a matter of clicking through what was left of the turns. I just really screwed that up. But anyway, that's just to say that you didn't miss much, or pretty much anything at all. Meanwhile, I was just on my usual rambles for the polls that are finally up, that I have been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks. What do you mean, one answer? Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but whenever I see that amount of guard, I just lose my shit. I just can't do anything. And when my initial plan with the stabs didn't work out, I just froze and could not readapt to another strategy of play. Oh, so helmet was hella useless. Anyway, it was a painful game to go through, so yeah. Good thing is that next week I won't have a game, since I will have a admin win, as the division is an odd number of coaches, and each of us will get one admin week. Mine will be the upcoming one. Which is good, because that means I have more time to spend on painting. And or other types of streams. By the way, what do you mean that it is one answer limited? Can you not put in a vote on each of the questions? Or is it that you want to click on multiple? on multiple answers of the same question. As usual, metallics need to be shaken up quite sturdily. By the way, let's check out and see how the poll is actually going. Ooh. Okay, well. I see, okay. I think I didn't lock the questions to one answer. I was thinking about it. But I think that may be a little bit for the best, since it won't dilute the results too much. I don't know, for the next one I will take this into consideration. But so far we do have 3 responses. Would appear that for now the Goliaths are going to be painted. The Warcry warband is going to be built. And Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition is going to be played. Right. The reason I thought about leaving it for one answer per question is so that there wouldn't be too much, that you couldn't take advantage of the poll and just spam answers all around, because there might be people who will just click on everything. And I did really want to see actual preferences. That being said, this type of poll will become a regular thing. So as soon as these things are done, as soon as I am through with whatever the winner of each category is, I'm going to... Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, there will be more polls, and then I might let more freedom in the choices. It's weird how my brain works sometimes, because I do remember seeing the option of limiting the answers, but I have no idea if I clicked it or not. So it may work the other way around. It needs to be clicked to not work. I don't know. Still, first try on this. It came up and it kind of works, so I'm okay with that. Now let's put some shiny silver on Bronan. Oh yeah, so did Eatsanif, and he told me that you can actually double vote. So you can submit your answers once through the computer and once from your phone. Okay. But still, if you have a second runner-up that you want to place, you can just resubmit, I think. You can cheat a little bit. Not like we're playing the lotto here. Camera really feels weird today. Okay. Yeah, there we go. It was just a bit lower than usual. Someone did put in a vote for Dead Space, and I'm glad to see that as well. I'll probably keep the poll active until September 8th. And by that time, hopefully, I'll be able to finish up some of the other projects that are ongoing for streaming and free up some time. Oh, great, great. Because a little bit of a horror game never hurt no one, right? Played a little bit of it, but never to completion. Also, maybe you noticed that all of the games are the first parts, wherever. Yeah, okay. So sequels and further on will be left for other polls. So I just decided that since this will be episodic, ooh, okay. Are they going to release it in miniatures, or is it like Gothic Fleet Armada with a digital release version? Since you're talking scale, I suppose this is for miniatures. Yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I mean, the style of the game. Right. Yeah, hexagonal is a very good decision for games. Um, I haven't had much experience on tabletop, but on PC, games like Panzer General and Civilization and all this type of games, they really function well on a hexagrid. There are also some 40k games like Rights of War is on a hexagon. The more recent, Armageddon, Apocalypse. I'm sorry, is also hexagonal. A good old school mechanic for strategy, for turn-based strategy, and I like it. Just putting some small highlights. Oh, the silver, this will be... Yeah, Armageddon Epic, yeah. I think that it is more limited mechanically than Rights of War was 20 years ago, which is weird. But I guess most people have forgotten these types of games, and therefore their expectations are a bit lowered. Because Rights of War was a blatant Panzer General ripoff, like down to the menus of the game, but it had its own charm and it was fun to play. Only stupid thing was that you played Eldar for most of the campaign, which was a bit of a bust. But you could custom game a lot of things, so you had Space Marines and so I think there was Chaos, not really sure. But what there was Gene Stealer cults. Yeah, I don't think it had much of a plot, to tell you the truth. And I never paid it much attention. I just played it for the game mostly. But having played, the chaos was on. Having played both Armageddon and Rights of War, mechanically, do you think that Elder Empire and Tyranids, yeah, Gene Stealer cults, yeah? Do you prefer that to Armageddon? Yeah, and they also used machines, had tanks and the type. Like, they operated Imperium-like machines. Yeah, it's very old. It's 98 or 99. Oh, okay. Because when I saw it, I don't think that there was the development options and most of the loadouts, and it just seemed a 4 version of Rights of War, but maybe that's not the case. May have just been me not looking right. It's weird how 40k games rarely use their own user interface and systems. Did I have to do this so bad? Since like Rights of War is a ripoff of Panzer General, and Dawn of War 2 uses the same engine as Company of Heroes. Oh, that's cool. Right, so now this has to... another thing I'll have to remember to get at some point. Okay, wait, what? And Armageddon is Panzer Corps, yeah. I don't know why they don't want to have an original mechanics in their games. They don't believe that they will get a good following or something. Oh yeah, and of course the fantasy Warhammer Total War is Total War, so again nothing new there. I need to put in just a little bit of blue. Final, yeah, actually, yes. I agree. It was like XCOM on a much larger scale. So again, you had your something like action points for movement. I haven't played Horned Rat. Dark Omen also doesn't ring a bell. So of the old ones, the other one I played was Chaos Gate, which was the actual XCOM ripoff. The one from '97. And it stands to me as pretty much the best 40k game I've ever played. Yeah, oh, definitely hard, but just really good. I don't know, I really loved it. And now I saw it on, yeah, permadeath, because you only had your initial loadout, like your whatever soldiers were initially loaded up on your flying citadel. And if you ran out of dudes, you just ran out of the campaign, and that's it. Also, you had to be careful who you level up, who you give the Crux Terminatus to, and so on and so forth. But it had Overwatch, it had a very interesting mechanic for automatic fire, for looting. It's really, really cool game. Okay, I think I'm done with the silvers. There's enough to put a bit of a shine, so let's move on to gold. Oh, and what I was going to say is that Chaos Gate is on GOG. And if you don't know, GOG is a site that sells old games that have been a little bit tweaked so they can work on modern systems. So just adapted so that they function on these. Yeah, okay. So yeah, Chaos Gate is there. Works like a charm, and it makes you weep little girly tears just as the old one used to. Damn it, I should have put Chaos Gate in the list of the games. But I was sticking to Steam, and that's why it got left out. Yeah, not all of them work, but most of it I've tried work off without a hitch. But they do save you like 3 or 4 hours of playing around with virtual machines. Because I had a period where I really wanted to play a ton of old games. And I had to install virtual machine on my PC and install an older version of Windows, like 95 or 98. And virtualize it, and even then, like Chaos Gate for instance, because of the video card the graphics card couldn't be recognized correctly. Every time I tried to shift the map, the graphics just broke. So unless you want to play around with that, yeah, GOG is a solid choice. Oh, so it had a very stupid bug where the sound effects of the laser. Oh, Final Liberation, it's it's also very old. I think it's pre-Windows maybe. It's I don't think it was compatible. Yeah, I don't think it was compatible with Windows 95 even. You had to run it on DOSBox or something. Yeah, Final Liberation is ancient. But I do think I ran it with standard virtual machine on Windows 98, maybe even. So it's possible, it's just not easy. Really don't know why these games have sunken into obscurity, because as we are currently saying, some of them were pretty decent, like objectively decent, not just among 40k games, but just in general good games. Oh, are you playing right now? Rally. No, I'm thinking of a game that was with just 2 cannons that you needed to manually aim. No, no. What did they do? Oh, the team. Oh, no. No, I don't think so. Give me a link if you can. I'll check it out. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Okay. No, the racing game I played on DOS, the only one was Lotus. The one with the green car, the blue car, and the yellow car. And they had different statistics and whatnot. It's such a chore to get anything running then, like anything at all. Speaking of old games, Fallout 1 is on the list of games in the poll. Being prior millennium, I consider it a pretty old game. But I have tested it and it works. So if anyone gets the urge to see that one, it is available. Also, I wonder. I did put in Underrail. I thought that was gonna be your choice for a game, as we've talked about it on multiple occasions. You know, that pixel art. Interesting for a racing game. Let me check it out now. You've sparked my interest. Maybe if I see a picture, it'll come to me. Okay. Ah, I see, I see. So it's right. Yeah, I get what you mean about the rally. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I saw it. I haven't played it or seen it, but I do recognize the style, the type of game it is, and yeah, I understand why you say it's slow and strategic. Yeah. try and get that gold mixed in.
What if I go stronger? What if I get higher? What if I start doing things I know I will regret? I will make my own way, I will not surrender. I will do my best until I get put under. What if I go stronger? 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 What if I go stronger?
Okay, no worries. Again, here trying to mostly restore a little bit of the gold shine. And after I'm done with this layer, I will go in with a brighter gold to layer it up. Yeah, I think you can change your vote, no problems there. And again, I won't be counting any submission for final until September 8th. Wow, this music really took a turn, didn't it? Nah, this is not staying.
Oh my god, I never thought I'd ever hear MGMT again. But guess who popped up on the Yo Gabba Gabba Spotify station yesterday?
She's late for baby yoga, but she's looking hella fly. Breastfeeding out in public, catching everybody's eye. With her brand new Orbit stroller and her pro. I hope was checking prices on that vegan sushi. With that Adbusters mag and her artisan toast. She's always shopping local and avoiding GMOs. Scoping out the Lululemon if it line on her phone. Using Amazon Mom, cause she's always on the go. Watching Girls on HBO really takes her back to the Bushwick parties and the vinyl stacks. She misses Cafe Grumpy and Brooklyn Label. But when she's back in Franklin, she can never get a table. She remembers Luna Lounge where she passed out flyers for an underground band named Arcade Fire. Before Lena Dunham was successful and paid, Hipster Girl was on the L trying to find her way. Well, Hipster Girl grew up and got her MFA. Married with the mortgage and an IRA. Hybrid minivan up in the carpool lane. But Hipster Mom is doing okay.
This may seem like a stupid question, but is breast milk vegan? Can I call you back in a bit? I have to Skype my lactation consultant.
She looks so good when she shops organic, cause she cares about her baby and the future of our planet. But life has gotten hectic now that she's become a mom. Though the charter school waiting list isn't all that long, and the Mandarin immersion that they offer every morning combines a bit of Waldorf and a bit of Montessori. And the rooftop playground has an urban petting zoo with with recycled wood chips and a Manhattan view. Cause her Greenpoint sublet had to go. Bedford got too crowded and she'd seen enough shows. So she married a designer and moved to Park Slope. Found a nice brownstone and they took out a loan. And her Etsy store has been doing great since Ellen Page Instagrammed her diaper bouquets. Before the Starbucks down on Union sold soy lattes. There was hipster girl trying to find her way. Well, hipster girl grew up and got her MFA. Married with a mortgage and an IRA. Hybrid minivan up in the carpool lane. But hipster mom is doing okay. Well, hipster girl grew up and now she makes it rain. Amber teething necklace that she bought fair trade. Vegan chocolate.
Sorry, I'm being quiet. I'm just trying to listen to the lyrics of this whatever crazy song that is.
Did you hear Jessica had an elective epidural? It's like she doesn't even care about the health of her newborn. How basic.
No more TV on the radio, it's NPR, where she heard the interview in her husband's car with her ex-fiancé who had gone EDM. But ever since her wedding, it was hard to stay friends. And his Coed hoodie with the dragonfly, she kept it in her closet as the years went by. Who's cried tonight about? Asked Terry Gross.
A girl I knew in Brooklyn, we were once very close.
Well, hipster girl grew up and got her MFA. Married with a mortgage and an IRA. Hybrid minivan up in the carpool lane. But hipster mom is doing okay. Well, hipster girl grew up and now her world has changed. The vintage Slayer onesie has begun to fade. Still on the second page of 50 Shades of Grey. But hipster mom is doing okay.
Are you kidding? Of course I'm not gonna let her wear pink. Did you see the Huffington Post article on Facebook this morning? Gender roles are so passé. That's why I'm siding with Blossom on the whole Frozen controversy. Have you seen Blackfish? It is so sad. There is no way we are ever
And
gonna
that's
have
a little bit of shine here.
ever. Do you think the gold iPhone 6 clashes with her indigo aura?
That was an interesting tune. Well, did you get the cat Kickstarter? Nice. For the delivery times or what? Because I don't think that there has ever been a Kickstarter that delivered. Uh-huh, okay. Don't tell me that they're gonna put them in separate shipments.
Lights are red and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Another dare. Lights are red and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Another dare. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Another dare.
I see, I see. Oh, yeah, but I think that's the better way. Because otherwise, you might have funded the whole project just so you can have these models and then being locked out of them. It's kinda disappointing. Because they have already been 3D rendered and are ready for production most of the time. Don't have to give customers the option to buy them. Sort of silly.
Another dare.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that just sounds like sloppy Kickstarter management. Don't think that they did it to explicitly screw someone over. Probably just a bit messy. I'll need to remind it. Yeah, if they are repeat creators, there shouldn't be a problem. But they do tend to mess up every now and again. Like the Gears of Dwarves Kickstarter, it just went insane. Because while the Kickstarter was going, the company got bought by another company, and the entire production was changed to another outsourcing production facility. And that really led to delays. But At the end of the day, I did get them, and they were very finely produced. But as they used different plastics and maybe different molds, it was obvious that they came from separate production facilities. But they are good. Like, it took them like 6 months up to maybe a year later to get them delivered. They did, and I'm glad. So as messy as it is, if they have already been through the whole shebang, they will make good. Yeah, I know. I'm just talking about the actual... so the Kickstarter side of things, not the models themselves, is in aesthetics. Like just the Kickstarter and the quality of the casts. Someday they will be on this table. Someday. Oh god, yeah, I see how that can go horribly wrong. Why on earth would you look for that anyway? I have been painting out of focus for who knows how long. Did I miss anything? Nope. Okay, so just the last highlight of gold remains to be placed. Oh yeah, so they would be for oh okay, there is a Halflings team of the same name. Supposedly from a European manufacturer that doesn't know about what can come out of such a name. This brush needs to be cleaned with soap badly. Like really badly at this point. Did you like the ones that Eatsanif posted? Are they of a similar style? So the ones that you're talking about, are they more like trees or are they more like football players? Chunky, yeah, I think they are chunky, but they look fine. So for the ones that you're talking about, just wondering if your style preferences are more for something that is... Oh, okay. That helps. Oh yeah, I've seen those! Let me bring up the screenshots. I've seen those, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Um, like, where their heads are like masks. This one I'm not so sure about. He looks a bit too animated, but this one is awesome. The one on the right, not really sure about. Oh, he's running? What? But yeah, I see what you mean. I think I do remember them popping into Kickstarter a while back. Or like Peter Pan's Never Ever Land children, but in a forest with trees? Is it something like that? Right, right. It is fun to see creative takes on existing teams. I'm actually a fan of also completely proxyable teams, as long as you can actually tell the positionals apart. I like when you can take completely different concepts that would use a particular team's rules. Because it just breathes. Exactly, exactly. Because even though it sounds like 30-ish teams are a lot for Blood Bowl, considering a current player base, it does run stale a little bit. And models like that acting as proxies are really enriching. Well, people do tend to use a fairly limited variety of miniatures for their teams, Well, for instance, Dark Elves. On the European that we went, you would only see the Greeble Dark Elves, the GW Dark Elves, and the older GW Dark Elves. Nothing else. And when you have 100 people playing Dark Elves, that no matter the, well, figuratively, I mean, I don't remember the exact numbers, maybe they were 50 or something. But even taking into account different paint schemes, the teams still look a little bit samey. Whereas if you use more variety in what you proxy as these teams, it's just more fresh, it's just more fun, and you have more incentive to see more teams on the table. Yeah, the high 5Ls were good. Yeah. Of course, the best case for this will be to just kit bash and convert models. But then again, not everyone has the time or the idea or the resources to kit bash things to get semi-original looking teams. Although GW teams seem to be the best for this. Like, just use them as a basis and build on top of them. Like I intend to do with the orcs. Get some crazy shenanigans going there. Not only do they not need kit bashing in order to break up the monotony, if that's what you mean, but also they are very hard to find parts for. Like, even though the scale for this guy is the same as for the other models. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant for the mana poses. But even though, for instance, if I wanted to kit bash this guy, like, how would I do so? How would I go about doing it? It's very hard because GW teams are more segmented in their details, and it makes it easier to see the line where you need to saw off, let's say, an arm or a leg to replace it with something. Whereas these are essentially one-piece sculpts, and it's very hard to do it. It requires a lot more skill to convert miniatures like this than it does to change GW stuff. And that's very intentional, at least on GW's side. As you probably remember, probably the first videos that came out on Warhammer TV for Blood Bowl before they even released teams was how you could turn the Plague Knights or whatever it was into Nurgle. For Blood Bowl. That was the very first video on the topic that they put up. So the entire... If you want to have a unique team and you want to take the time to convert, it goes a long way. But if you want to use the miniatures out of the box, yeah, you are stuck with fairly generic and repeating models. Yeah, I've seen the same thing was done when with the orcs, where the black orcs were replaced with the Sigmar, Oruk, whatever they were, the big guys from the orc box from Sigmar. And of course, countless other examples, but these are the ones that come to mind. But again, it's more work, it's more models that you have to buy, more the majority of which will not be touched, so they will stay on the sprue, and buying a whole box of models for a couple, nah. If you have them lying around as extras and bits for conversions, maybe. So that will be the final highlight, some Auric armor gold. Also, for the conversions, usually the hardest bit is the hands, since when you chop off the weapons, the hands are left looking a bit goofy. So third-party vendors such as Puppets of War, and I think Simon also had a version, they produce only the hands, so from the wrist, so from the wrist to the hand, they produce only hands for Blood Bowl, so for Fantasy Football. Hands holding either open hands or hands holding balls or stuff like that. That would, because they did realize that otherwise they're left a bit goofy looking. So it's nice to have such compensations, or I don't know, how would you call it? To make up for the most common inefficiencies of kit bashing. What? Seriously? I forgot it. Holy shit, I forgot it. Dude, I'm so sorry. Damn. I had it written down on paper, and when I was copying it, I just forgot it. Damn it. I'm sorry, dude. Oh shit. Because I remembered it at the end, and I added it in a weird place on paper, and my eyes just probably glazed over and skipped it. Well, that's what you get when you do things in a rush. I wanted to get both the polls out and also announce the stream and also get something to eat before the stream started. And like in Blood Bowl, when I start to think about more than a couple of things at a time, I end up not doing anything right. Oh well. Next time then. I did remember Planescape though. Right, well this dude, I think, can now officially be called done. Yep, now I'll just put him on a base, do a bit of basing, put on the number, and he's done. Finally. Not counting any additional things that I may add to him or the other models after I have varnished them all. Wow, a Witcher theme song. Nice. Yeah, the whole model, all 32 millimeters of it. So let's turn this table into a conversion table. So what do we need? We need the base. Probably glue. I need to get some more glue. Glue. Basing material. And for now, the black marker. And I'll be off for just a few seconds to get some more drinking water. And I'm back. Nice. Few more good news. It is, yeah. I use energy drink cans for storing tools. I have another one, a couple more for brushes. Because they're just this very good size, and this one for the water, the skeleton. The pirate skelly. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they're really convenient for this type of thing. Only problem is I can't really get the edges very smooth when I cut the can, so there is a little bit of risk to cut myself, but haven't done so yet, so I am having my hopes. Because I used to absolutely separate everything. Like I had one for paints I would use for water-based acrylics, one that I would use only for metallics, one that I would use for enamel-based paints. But then I just consolidated everything because it didn't really make that much sense, and I myself knew which brushes are for what purpose. Of course, I did do all of these things while I shared my paint station with a buddy, and we were painting together, and so I had to have a bit more of a clear distinction on which tool is used for what. Which is why I also have like 5 different X-Acto knife handles. So I definitely have a surplus of stuff. So in case anyone actually wants to get into the hobby and is in the local area, I think I can fairly easily supply him with good condition secondhand stuff. And also some very cheap and very crappy paint. Just so that they can appreciate how much better paints made for miniatures are. Like, my word, the change was incredible. After struggling with these glossy enamel textile paints, just going into going into Citadel paints was an extreme jump. And they're probably all dried out by now. I just keep them in a box of spare stuff. Like different types of thinners for paints that I no longer use. Some steel wire, well, not steel, aluminum wire. Tin wire is proper too. And a bunch of stuff that no longer has frequent application. Also my airbrush cleaning things. Some mixtures that I made myself from paint thinners and oven degreasers. And actually, it's a pretty horrible concoction, but it seemed to clean out the airbrush pretty decently. And now that my airbrush is dead, well, I no longer need those. I keep trying to think of a reason to get a decent airbrush. So far, especially after starting to stream, I really can't find a justification to get that tool. Maybe someday if I start doing commissions, but I don't see that happening anytime soon either. Exactly, because it is very expensive and I really need a good justification for myself to get it. And its use is mostly if you want to paint multiple, like 50 or more models with similar paint style, paint scheme. Otherwise, yeah, you might get a couple of colors with a smooth blend overall, but just because of that, I mean, come on. Ridiculous. before it died, I was only using it. Again, it was a cheapo from Lidl. And that's the only reason why I got it in the first place, because it was like 75 bucks local, making it 30, let's say 40 euro for a compressor and an airbrush. But buying an actual one for miniatures, yeah, that's insane. It's if you want to see them before your grandchildren are born, I wouldn't advise you giving them to me. That's pretty much what's keeping me from starting. Commissions. I just paint way too slow. It's not feasible to do it for someone else. Maybe if I get some more decent painting technique and I wouldn't feel it being like a rush or something, and I just start painting a bit faster, then maybe. So how will this dude stay on? Like this, probably. Again, I'm using the gel version of instant glue. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. But still, this is neat sized container, and I think I can see pretty much every item in it separately, meaning that if you actually want to reach for something, you can get it. You don't have to actually dig into it. So it does do what it needs to do. Although that open scalpel is an accident waiting to happen. Yeah, exactly. Fair enough, I guess. So this guy is now on. Just give it a few moments. To settle. And then we are on to this stuff. Sterland Mud texture paint. Just before that, this patch of gray is really on my nerves, and I want to cover it up a bit. There we go. Hey there, it's Alif. Not to worry. Thank you for joining. As you can see, I am already at the basing stage for this feather here. Apologies for the out of focus. Maybe. Maybe I can go like this. Just so you can see him a little bit better. And dim the exposure down so you don't get blinded. Where is my trusty garbage brush? There it is. A nice piece of garbage brush, which also happens to be a Milan, although this one is the 501 series. I do seem to be using quite a bit of those. About the holes, they will fill up. So this is a texture paint, and if I layer it up thick enough, it'll cover up the gap. There might be a little bit of a depression left afterward, but then again, I am going for something that's a bit of a rough, muddy terrain. So it won't look as prominent. Yeah, and although I'm not really having much control over it, I do seem to remember some painters that have been working on dioramas of, oh, you know, World War II tanks and that kind of thing. When they took their projects to competitions, they were told that the basing needs to be reflected on the model. So a little bit of the basing materials need to be on the model itself. And it does make some sense, as in it doesn't make sense for someone walking in mud not to have his boots muddied. And I have seen some cases where this goes into the extremes, like for instance, taking a dry brush and going over with the same color with a dry brush up to the knees to bring some dust into it. And it was done well, so it didn't feel out of place, but I do think it's a bit much. Having a bit of mud on the boots on a muddy field, it does feel sort of like it should be. And this is why I am doing my basing after putting the model on the base, because you will see many hobbyists doing the bases before and then just put the model on top. And while that's not a bad idea at all, in this way, putting the model first makes it easier for me. Yeah, I've seen that done a lot, but it only works if you are doing heavy weathering on the entire model, and then it just makes sense to weather a lot of the base onto the model. In this case, I'm going for more along the lines of a clean looking dude with just a splash of context here and there for the base. It's just different approaches for the same thing, really. It just depends how much you really wanna emphasize on the weathering, because there are people that go just all the way in, and I've seen Space Marine models that are chipped to hell, like 90% of the surface that needs to have a color is actually chipped. What? Math is showing. What? Ah, yeah, I saw those. The block skill markers. Yeah. It did seem that there is a bit of a gap between the rims of the skill markers. No, not at all. On my side, that I again forget to put down the streaming, the bitrate. Yeah, there was a gap between the skill marker and the base. So I think that it may be a bit cumbersome to play with those, as in if you lift the model up, the skill marker will detach. But we'll see. Admittedly, trying to get a one-size-fits-all marker for the bases is an impossible task. And by that I mean there are different sizes for the same scale bases. So 32 mil rims can be completely different. Now I can show you Wild West Exodus rims, which are also 32 mil, and they look nothing like this. Also, Grebo 32 mils are also different from this. They are thinner and are wider somehow. So trying to get a single type of skill marker to fit all of those is not a feasible approach. Because these are the standard GW bases. Hence why they have holes. And by the way, on the topic of bases, from the ones I've worked with, I think that the GW ones are the best, because this piece here is the thickest of them all, and so ooh. I saw it on Instagram, but I suppose they have also double posted on Facebook. Just the NAF World Cup for Facebook page. There are some old school orcs, I think, with block skill markers shown. Yes, so Facebook. And you can see that there is a gap between the rim of the skill marker and the base. And so I do prefer these bases because they have a lot of space to write down numbering or mark off spacing. They are flat, so you can actually write, and well, they're just better. Because the privateer press ones are oval, and the Grebo ones are very much shorter. Very little details, but just my personal opinion after having worked with these types of bases. Just personal preference. Right, so I won't be using this brush anymore. Did I spill over the rim anywhere? Nope. All good. Oh, they'll fit in any case. They will certainly fit. The only question is whether or not they will fall every time you lift the model up. Yeah, but they catch on the bottom, so it's alright. Yeah, do you think we'll have enough time? The magnetite. Ah, they will be provided. Oh, okay. Alright. Alright, okay. Yeah, that is that problem out of the way then. Good. Oh. If you're wondering what I'm doing, well, I am watching paint dry. It is an integral part of the hobby. Yeah, see where the hole was? There, you can see there is a little bit of a depression, but it is still consistent. It'll be fine. While I can get out the brown for the dry brushing afterwards. As usual, I did forget. Monkey! Probably gone off somewhere. Yeah, but see, I'm a bit lazy and I like to have the downtime. So I will just stick to watching it a little bit. I will blow smoke on it. How's that? As a compromise. Yeah, it'll add some more texture to the thing. Oh, that's nice. To teach them not to roll ones. Do you separate your dice when you're using multiple of them? Do you like then to separate the ones that don't roll well and the ones that do? Because I've seen Etanov do it. I've seen him do it. Don't hide from that. But I had yeah. It's weird, but then again, if you bring along a lot of dice and you need a reason to alternate between them, yeah. Because I usually bring along just the one set with a couple of just in case ones. Still, I don't think you should. If it's just a pile of dice, you can use any ones you catch. Also, bear in mind that the dice that we are using are not casino level dice, so they are far from being balanced. Oh yeah, and if that's the case, absolutely, yeah, totally, certainly. I wonder if there will be such Oh, really? That's exactly what the thought that came to mind. What if someone does an insane... Yeah, D6s can be balanced. But if someone does a Kickstarter with balanced Blood Bowl dice, that'll be weird. Because they would be super expensive. Oh, that essentially what you do is just replace what you've cut out. Well, that's a type of balancing, yeah. If you're, I mean, it's balanced towards a particular side. Yeah, true. No, I meant the type of process that a die goes through in order to be balanced, meaning that whatever is cut out for the numbering or for any form is replaced with the same material of a different color to fit the whole in order to maintain the balance of the cube. Yeah, I just use it as a reference to get a general idea. I don't mean exact Xeno dice. How much larger are they? Oh yeah. There are many ways to do forgery. 19 mil per side. Oh yeah, they are huge. Yeah, these are huge. I do remember mini wargaming. The guys that play a lot of 40k. They had these huge dice, like 5 centimeters per side, for instance, and they used it to count down turns for 40k. And they don't roll on smaller boards, okay. Those were some cool dice. Also, I really liked the metal ones that were on the European. There was a game there where you could roll those dice, but they would destroy anything that you roll them on. Like, they are the most impractical things in the world, but they're also super cool. But they would tear apart any dice tray, any terrain. Nah, I don't think you would need to do that. Oh yeah, and just shred everything. But they were cool, that's a given. And of course, everyone that came to play, the first thing they would ask is, can I buy these dice? I'd never use them, but they just look cool. Can I buy them? And I think that the most often thing he had to say that it's no, just no. Yeah, even the dice cup that he used for the game was already torn apart. Oh, it's... Maybe the one that he was advertising. Had some pretty cool Amazons, I remember. That were in the prize pool. And everyone was playing for them, including myself. I'll take a look in just a moment. I want to paint up this piece here. I think I got it to line up with where he is looking at. Let's take a look at this. Okay. Ooh, yeah, these are nice. I think you had the such dice, yeah, Itana? These ones, no, not the gold fall, these ones, the impact opaque ivory black. I think you had those. But yeah, they are good. The pictures are well distinguishable, so you never wonder what the hell it is. These are a bit more confusing, but they are also nice. Yeah. Purple finish. Discontinued. And they are metal. Okay. I don't think that these are metal though. I think they are metal finish. So they are with a metallic paint. They are not actually metal dice. Oh, they are metal. Okay. And look, they have rounded edges, so you don't destroy everything that you roll them on. It's a good idea. Yeah, these are cool. They're actually quite a bit better than the ones that we were looking at. Yeah. Who would have thought that dice would be such an integral collector's piece in a board game? I actually never thought of that when I was getting into it. Yet here I am, with a bag full of dice. No, you're not getting me into this. If you want some, you can get them for yourself, but I'm not. Not yet, anyway. That's cool. I forgot what I was looking for. Yeah. Transfer sheets. I got sidetracked. A little bit. So who's the lucky number? Lucky number 13. Now, you know what? I'm gonna make him 12. So that the ladies wouldn't be the lost numbers. Why didn't you tell me that the cam was flickering again? So we're cutting out number 12. So that the line women would be 11 and 13. Just for some lineup variety. Meanwhile, that... Ah, shit. So I will be putting a bit more on them. I know, right? Again, I am always glad when I'm doing this on a flat surface. Because when I was doing Space Marines and including the human team, putting these decals on the curved surface of a shoulder pad or something is absolute nightmare, because you need to pre-cut them so that they don't fold on themselves, and you run the risk of cutting too deep into the decal itself and it would fall apart. Making it a thoroughly not enjoyable part. Naturally, if I was just a better painter, I could have just free-handed the whole thing, but as I am not, this is what I do. Oh, I will put a bit more of the Sterland mud over the hole because it actually broke. As you can see, the depression actually broke through. I'll put some more on top. And here as well. Ah, there we go. Almost as designed. Also, it is an option to have a layered, like, cake. If you wanted to do it with a really uneven surface, you can start building up layer on top of layer. So if you want to, you can go here and build another little mound-like thing. Essentially just sculpt with paint. Well, no longer. Haha. Oh, don't talk to me about worms, cause I am this close to reinstalling any Worms game and playing the era-loving shit out of it. Cause I so love these little tanks. And the newer ones are pretty good. Dune worms, okay. The big uns. And while shit is drying again, I'll go to get a new cup of water for drinking purposes. Back again. Has this dried? No, the new stuff didn't. So what will I not need anymore? I won't need this marker. I will need the white marker. I need to start putting in more work in my basing. But for now I just cannot be bothered. I don't know why. It's just it doesn't inspire me creatively. For whatever reason. Well, there is a reason, and it is that I will be using so far 100%. Yeah, but the models, they do inspire me. They do create this little itch in my mind that yeah, I want to put paint on this. I want to do this in a certain way and whatnot, but not for the bases. And the reason for that is that so far all of the models I've painted are for gaming purposes, and elaborate basing would hamper the gaming piece quality of it. If I was doing a display piece, then I would play around a lot more, like because I would have an idea of what I want this to be and so on. But these are players on a football field, like they are standing on a football pitch. Aside of putting in a ball and maybe a skull, what could you base? Like in Itanev's case, yes, they are the bases are artistic. Yep, good reminder. A puddle is a good idea. And the duck in the puddle, of course, because what puddle would not have a duck in it? What self-respecting puddle would be duckless? And what duck will be puddleless? And all these deep philosophical questions. But yeah, for instance, the bases that Itanef is going for are more along the lines of display bases, as opposed to playing bases. And they are not very tall, so they will double up effectively as play bases. They won't impact. Yeah, but not that much more, so that it would break the use of it. Also, going with very scenic bases for games like 40k, where you have actual line of sight, like true line of sight, is not a good idea. It just makes your minis much more of a open target. When you put 3 layers of cork on top of your base and put the mini on top of that, well, pretty much anyone can see that from a mile away. Which is why I have this weird... He was shot in the banner. Critical hit. Which is why I have this weird notion towards bases. I don't doubt it. I don't know if it is... No, I think since maybe 7th edition they added the description that it needs to be an actual part of the miniature, like not a random spike or a gun barrel. But I don't know, it was either 7th or 8th edition. Because I was reading up on this, I saw this when I was reading through the Necromunda rules, And I saw that clarification and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. I remember that shit. Yeah, 40k and Necromunda share a lot of rules. Yeah. They they count or they don't count? Because that was a hell of a discussion years ago. They don't count, yeah. Yeah. But you believe me that there were some heated discussions on the topic at the times. Whether or not something was or was not part of it. And as Pig in Space said, there were entire comics dedicated to dudes being shot in the banner. Which is why I prefer either the Infinity or the War Machine approach to the situation. So Infinity uses profiles. So for each base there is a piece of plastic, flat plastic that you can measure up against. And these are the dimensions that the model counts for. And War Machine goes even simpler, and they say that the base projects a cone upwards, and so if it goes out of the base, it just doesn't count as a model piece. And that was fair. Yeah, on the topic. They got hit right in the heraldry. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Turn signals, I'm a land rider. Yeah. This is gold. Now for a little bit of base dry brushing. I'm not overly happy with the transition on the shoulder pad, and since it's going to be a focal point, I'm not really okay with that. Well, still. Even if you don't get them, you can still appreciate most of them. I always used to laugh at the rule for close combat, where having a pistol counts as a melee weapon. So you shoot them with your bolt rifle, and then as you close in, you switch to your pistol and start hitting them with your hilt and with your chainsword. And so the bolt gun is where? In your teeth? Yeah, I know it does. You carry a plasma pistol and you smack them with your hilt. I'd genuinely be more afraid of it exploding rather than causing damage. Yes, indeed. What I found weird in terms of emissions from older editions is that they stopped giving armor piercing to chainswords. Because it kind of looks like they should have at least a little bit of armor piercing about them. Of armor penetration. Because right now they're just nothing. They are... Oh, see? See? Smart ones. Yeah, chainswords are now literally just for looks. And to indicate close combat weapon. Which is sad because, let's face it. Oh, it did? Well, I think they did have something along those lines. They had rend or something. Was it rend? I don't know. Chainswords are a big part of the allure. Yeah, aside from the +1 attack. Yeah. But that counts. This is exactly the same as if you put a knife in, let's say. Ah, okay, I see. Because you can put one of these big knives they have, and it'll have the exact same effect that a chainsword would. That doesn't make too much sense. But then again, many things don't make too much sense, so why dwell on that? I'm just a bit partial to chainswords, as I think most of us are. They are that little piece of super unrealistic and extremely rule of cool type of weapon that has zero practicality but just looks like the shit. Actually, it was in one of the first comics, Plastic Dudesman. I think it's a fairly well-known one, where this one guy was trying to get his friend into the hobby. And that other dude being extremely skeptical, saying that this is a boring game where you just imagine things like in the Dark Ages and whatnot. And then the first dude says, yeah, but these guys, they have chainswords. And that automatically just converted him. You know the one I'm referring to. It's a legendary one. And he was like, come on, hurry up and tell me how to play this so my plastic dudes with chainswords can cut your... Oh, that too. That too. A bit less working on the fantasy trope of swords, but yeah, definitely. And so the Flash gets animation on Space Hulk with the rule about Chain Fist being able to open doors instantaneously. And the guy with the chainsaw, with the chain fist goes, yes, I could open this door. I could open instantly, but I'm not going to because you're not being polite to me or something along those lines. It was also very funny. But yeah, if you were wondering if you had a door that you needed to open faster, definitely use Imperium sanctioned chain fists. Because why wouldn't you put a chainsaw on your fist? And the lore and yeah, don't tell me that this is a thing. Please don't tell me this is an actual thing. It's a gray area. Okay. Okay. Oh, so that would be the only way for them to effectively communicate with machines, as in just smash them to bits. Oh, okay. Right. I used to really want to make a squad of angry marines as we were talking about ludicrous melee weapons. Because I wanted to have a chance at sculpting power bats and power boots. Which, as we all know, are within the arsenal of the Angry Marines chapter. They should make them canon, I think. At this point, it's become so ridiculously insane that they would actually fit. Yeah, that quiet bubbling rage when you just you flip over the anger meter and you're just calm and while seething with rage. I know exactly what you're talking about there, yeah. Yeah, I'm not too big on Blood Angels lore. Well, most of the chapters. I was only interested in Black Templars and Space Wolves, I think. And to a smaller extent, Dark Angels. Just staying there, being angry. I see. Yeah. The alternative of take a chill pill. Just take a break under a ruined building. He was cured. So angry, he is calm. He just needs to get himself a yellow colored power armor. He will fit right in the ranks. Of the angry Marines. That might actually, why not? Why not make it a future project? Trying to convert some Marines into angry Marines. Might be fun. The yellow would be a nightmare to paint. But converting them to have their flipping off fingers, that might be fun. And although it has been done, I don't think it's been done with Primaris. But I don't know if I would like to mangle Primaris models to make angry Marines. Still, food for thought. Yes, please. Yeah. That is pretty much always angry all the time. This is pretty much their mode of operation. Yeah, there is nothing unusual here. Yep. They're amazing. I don't know. This is... Oh god, yeah. This is probably... The Angry Marines as a whole is probably one of the best pieces of parody fan fiction that actually is made to work with the main material that I've ever seen. It's just... it's too good. There were some other attempts for a theme song of theirs. Oh, from Soulstorm, okay. The last expansion of the first metal boxes. Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. Nope. Please educate me. I don't know if they did as much for the Rainbow Marines as they did for the Angry ones. Or did they just mention them? Oh, right, okay. Let me check it out. Maybe I'll get lucky and find something quickly. 40k metal. Oh, okay. Conan, right. Ah, they're canon. What? Is that what you meant? Okay. Yeah, I think... I think I got it. Oh, Oh, I got it from the... Yeah. Okay. I got the one on the metal boxes. Yeah. Yeah. Because of the collection, you can collect them in Dawn of War 1. Yeah. Got it. Funny how that missed me. How that Levin bind me. Used to play quite a bit of Dawn of War 1. Ah, Rainbow Warriors, okay. Oh, I see. So that's why they didn't get the same type of treatment as their angrier nemesis. Founding chapter Ultramarine makes total sense. Oh, someone's actually painted one. Yeah. Multicolored. And there was a smaller attempt at... I don't remember how they were called, but they were supposed to be extremely boring type Marines, wearing actual realistic cameo colors and being really by the book and like actual soldiers and stuff like that, and were supposed to be very boring and non-marine-y. But I don't think that got anywhere. It was just a mention here and there. Still, all of them pale in comparison to good old angry ones. I'm just waiting for the dry brush to settle down a bit. Then I will draw the line with the white marker, and this guy will just have the varnish treatment left for him, which I will do off stream. And we would be done. Also, off stream I will get the two... Oh yeah, Pig in Space. Now that I've got your attention on stream, I can now ask you again. So last time, Eatsanif helped me to decide that the last two Norse dudes will actually be Norse chicks. These two. And I was wondering if you could help me with deciding on hair colors for them. So this is number one. And this is number two. And I need hair colors for them. Purple and neon green. This is for the industrials. Yeah, I will redo their hair colors and I will make them all the colors of rave, neon-y colors. But for these guys, I want to stick to regular colors. So blonde, black, brown, gray, carrot top, so redheads. Anything along those lines. Because I do have redheads, I do have... only this guy so far is with a black set of hair. Brown, the Ulfs are technically brown. So I was wondering if you could... Yeah, golden yellow for one. Which one? The one with the helmet or the one without a helmet? So this is the one without the helmet, and this is the one with the helmet. She has pigtails in flaming red. Okay. I already have one red-headed chick in the mix, but it doesn't hurt to have another one. And another blonde. Alright. That'll be cool. So I think that I'll do the pigtails in blonde and her in red. Oh, or the other way around. Okay, that works too. Sure, why not? Let me get the others just to get a rough proportion. So we have two redheads, one on the chick and one on the dude. I have one blonde. This one is the blonde. And the dudes are... This one is brown. Hey there, MV Petif. How you doing? Catching us just at the end, but still, welcome along. And this guy has gray hair. So another blonde will be okay, but I'm not sure if I want to put in another redhead. Which is actually what triggered me to raise the question. Yeah, let's check it out. Oh, thank you. With the boombox. Golden and brown, yeah. I think that's the best choice here. Thank you for your advice. Yeah. Although red looks good as in it's a nice splash of color, you can see them well even out of focus. It'll be a bit too much to have three of them. So yeah, gold and brown would be the colors of the chicks. So yeah, let's put down... Have you not really used Twitch so far? That's weird. Making this the worst possible way, but whatever. Actually. actually, not so bad. Okay. Did you just join here, or did you have a little bit of time watching from the backlines, lurking about? Because essentially what we did today was just finishing up this little old dude here. Putting some final touches on the metallics so he would have a nice little bright sheen. Oh, okay, still. Again, thanks very much for going through the trouble of making an account and coming along. But yeah, just the metallic sheen, and then put them on the base, put some stuff on the base, got them numbered and ready for varnishing. And now we're just nerding about. Like a snorting line. It kinda does for most of them. But I did see that effect being put on other minis, even on a grassy basing, and it did sort of look nice. It does give the impression that it is sort of like a football field. But yeah, I see your point. I don't really know how to not make it look like one. If we take her, see, we get exactly the same kind of bullshit. Nah. It'll do. Yeah, actually it was Duncan on Warhammer TV. He used one of the Skaven Blood Bowl minis to show how to paint that football field line on a grassy base. And he did use, like, he started off with yellow. He did use paint, of course, not a marker. No, I mean on a base that is fully stacked with grass. He painted a line, a football line on it, and that is where I got the idea. Because just mud is a bit too boring, and so as an additional little splice of color. I'm not too hot for it either, but all of the others have one, so why shouldn't the rest? I am making quite a few half-assed ideas while doing this project, but this is usually what happens when I have to make more than 5 of a type. I just tend to stick to the first thing that gets done on the test mini. And if it doesn't look horrible, I think maybe just twice I've repainted a test mini. So the one that I use as a guide for the rest. I think one Space Marine and one human. Bye, Zanif. Have a nice evening, and thanks for coming along. And a good night in that case. Sweet dreams. Yeah, that would be the best thing to do, and you do see how long it takes me to do the things I do so far, and if I was actually gonna go and do things right, each and every one of them, I would need to have... This would have need to be the team I'd use in the next World Cup. And that's just not really feasible Like, I am all for giving good quality, but you do have to draw the line somewhere. Which is why I want to get done with them, and when the polls are up. By the way, Imperative, did you get the chance to vote? Or did you just put in the comment on Facebook? No, I'm referring to the dude who just joined. Because he did put in a comment on Facebook for the poll. He was also enforcing the idea of Baldur's Gate, but I don't think he actually went into the poll to vote. And I am just encouraging him to do so. So yeah, for the next projects, as they will be very long ones, as in going slowly through each mini and mixing it with minis from other projects, I will have a lot more time to screw around and try experiment things and try and push for a higher level of quality. And I swear, these are the last ones that I'm going to do on a timetable, because it just doesn't work well. Any time constraint just automatically gives me a headache whenever doing something for leisure. So I don't think I'll be doing that anymore. So if I am able to put up a stream tomorrow, I will be starting off with these two, and I will try to batch paint them since I will have time for longer streams. So I'll have to make sure to file down this gap filling I put in and prime them. Put them on the corks for painting for tomorrow, so they'd be ready, and also give this guy the traditional 2 layers of varnish, starting off with satin, and then so a can of satin varnish, and then go over with the brush to put a layer of matte varnish, and that'll be him. These things will be done off stream. So we can then start with a couple of brand new minis, with the unreasonable expectation to get them done by the end of next week. So we can start off on the projects that you will choose in the polls on Facebook. But anyway, I think we're done today. I'm just gonna finish up the smoke, and I will say my adios for today. Thank you for joining along, and hopefully I'll get to see you soon again. See ya, dude. Thank you again for joining, for following, and for being a part of this. Also, a big thank you to all who have watched in the background, and to all who are and or will watch on YouTube. To all of you, love what you do what you love, and I've been Bachacolio, signing out. Bye guys!